We're under full globalist attack. Every channel, every day, lies, lies, lies. And if you look at the attack profile, it only makes sense if they're planning to kill us. And that means the president, too. Well, I've always been a news hound since I was a little boy. I liked nonfiction. Then as I grew older, I learned that a lot of the news itself was fiction. I am so honored that I'm being attacked in U.S. media more than Saddam Hussein was on the eve of both wars. I mean, I am being attacked more than Saddam Hussein. And they're now saying on CNN, Fox News, everywhere, that I am like Charlie Manson or Saddam Hussein. This is an incredible honor to have Hollywood and MSM and the pedophile rings and the rest of them so mad at me. This is an extreme honor. I have asked God for this for the last 25 years to really be set against the enemy. And thank you all for your prayers. It's really amazing to stand against radical Islam as well. Let's play a powerful Paul Watson report, then I'm going to come back and break down the bombshell news.
Steve Scalise and several other Republican lawmakers were shot by a deranged leftist gunman this morning. The shooter asked if the representatives were Democrats or Republicans before opening fire. Representative Mark Walker said the gunman, quote, was there to kill as many Republican members as possible. Before the shooter was named, I was smeared by the left for saying this was a terror attack carried out by an anti-Trump leftist radicalized by hysterical mainstream media propaganda. Oh, look, turns out it was a terror attack carried out by an anti-Trump leftist radicalized by hysterical mainstream media propaganda. He was a Bernie Sanders voter. He said Trump should be locked up for treason. He was obsessed with conspiracy theories about Russia interfering in the election. He loved The Daily Show, John Oliver, and Rachel Maddow. He literally said, quote, one of my favorite TV shows is The Rachel Maddow Show on MSNBC. So it was a terrorist attack targeting conservatives carried out by a deranged anti-Trump, Russian collusion-obsessed leftist. Yeah, gonna be hard for the mainstream media to spin that one, isn't it? Oh, but this guy on CNN says the shooter was just tired, and Wolf Blitzer said nothing to challenge it.
He wasn't evil, that he was, I guess, tired of some of the politics that are going on.
That's what we just heard.
Give me a break. Can you imagine the freak out if an InfoWars fan tried to massacre a bunch of Democrats? Just like the Orlando massacre was Islamic terrorism, this was leftist terrorism. It's not about gun control. It's about a dominant culture that since before Trump was even elected has greased the skids for left-wing domestic terrorism. How many times have you heard me warn that the media, the left, and Hollywood's rampant anti-Trump hysteria was legitimizing violence against conservatives? Loretta Lynch talking about blood on the streets.
They've marched. They've bled. Yes, some of them have died. This is hard.
Kathy Griffin mock beheading Trump. New York Times sponsored theater productions where Trump is assassinated. The media applauding the whole punch-a-Nazi movement. Almost exactly a year ago, crazed left-wing lunatic Michael Sanford tried to assassinate Donald Trump at a rally in Las Vegas after he grabbed an officer's gun. And the media barely even reported on it. Celebrities envisioning anti-Trump violence over and over again. It's time to take some responsibility. This is your fault. What do you think's going to happen when you relentlessly signal to deranged crazies that Trump and his administration are committing treason and are illegitimate? This. Exactly this. This is the context in which the shooting took place. And guess what? Leftists were more outraged about me pointing out these facts than they were other leftists celebrating the congressman being shot. Let that sink in. The media, the left, and Hollywood must stop legitimizing violence and return to the realm of civil discussion. The blood is on their hands.
This hatefulness that we see in this country today over policy differences has got to stop. We can have our differences, but let's not let it lead to such hate.
It is a fact that on the eve of the Gulf War in 1990, a PR firm was hired, and the daughter of the owner of the PR firm, who'd never been to Kuwait and who spoke fluent English and been brought up in the U.S., went and testified to seeing Iraqi soldiers ripping babies out of incubators and bashing their brains out by the hundreds. This was used as the pretext to launch that war that was meant to legitimize the UN as a global government body and bring in a new world order, as George Herbert Walker Bush said, or Bush 41. Now, if criminal elements of our government will do something like that to launch now 3 wars in the Middle East, back radical jihadists to take over Iraq, Syria, Libya, other areas, overthrow our allies in Egypt, kill millions of people, starve millions more, and have Madeleine Albright, Clinton's Secretary of State, say 500,000 kids is an okay price to pay. In fact, let's cue that up. If they'll do that, then am I supposed to question Sandy Hook when it happens and they've got the kids going in circles in and out of the building and they don't call the rescue helicopters, and then instead an hour later there's porta potties and food being delivered and PR firms are there and Anderson Cooper says he's on location but he's clearly faking the location? We looked at every angle of that. And so they've now misrepresented what we've said, that I said it could have been totally true, could have been totally fake. I didn't progenerate. I didn't create. I wasn't the fount of that. The things that I am the fountain of, I'll tell you. 1776 worldwide, rebooting America. Nationalism. But many other people are the creators of that as well. You are taking action. So something very interesting happened, and I wasn't going to have proof of it. But then as God seems to work in mysterious ways, or somebody did this on purpose, I'm not sure, I did an interview with Hollywood Reporter a few days ago because I knew they'd done a fairer job actually interviewing people like Stephen Bannon and others and actually letting him have quotes. They still attacked him, but they actually let him have real quotes. They're actually real journalists sometimes. And so they call me up. Hundreds of publications have called, but they always want a written statement or they want to act like they talked to me, and then they don't ever really put anything I said in the piece. In fact, I've done some interviews where they go, Jones said no kids died on the phone today. Totally a lie. Or Jones said, you know, you want to suck my sausage. Der Spiegel. Total lie. So I really can't be interviewed anymore because they just lie. Because they've been authorized to lie as political hitmen and women. But just to give you a window into all of this and the big national firestorm, and that they are now saying that I am like Charlie Manson and Saddam Hussein on Fox, on CNN, on MSNBC, unified. That Adon Salazar is posting it right now. He walked up to me and said, have you seen this? And I said, yeah, I know all about it. But it was just too fantastical to even tell people, so I wasn't going to tell you. I just, there's too much stuff happening, but I've decided to go ahead and tell you about this. There's the article cached right there. The reporter calls me back and says, you know, I've never seen this before. This got pulled away from me, and I've interviewed everybody. Mr. Bond's the name of the reporter. And he said it got taken away at the top of the company and above. And I said, that's interesting. Then I was talking to one of my government sources, and they said, no, this is a deep state CIA disinformation bureau. And when you say it's like wartime propaganda, like we see before a war, it's because it is. And it is deep state, an actual division of the State Department, the CIA, and the Ford Foundation. I mean, when I walked into that house that Megyn Kelly had rented that night, I know spooks when I see them. It was academic analyst spooks. It was like a CIA substation or something. And I was like, wow, this is going to be big. This is the big hit piece I told my wife it was. A huge attack on the free press, an attempt to destroy me and set an example to intimidate everybody else. It's not the interview. It's what they say around the interview with the innuendo, just like they do about the president with these fake leaks, which then it turns out the leaks aren't even what they said they were. And I am just honored to be attacked at this level. But I was told by that reporter, and I was told by a lot of other reporters, they said, listen, this is the first time ever we're not allowed to actually say anything you've said. We're just basically supposed to make stuff up. And then I started reading last night New York Times articles and others where they slip up. Megyn Kelly goes, of course I was nice to him. I had to fool him. Well, she didn't fool me. And where they admit in newspapers that orders have gone out and that they're all working together to misrepresent. Imagine the entire MSM working together with comedy shows and news shows and thousands of newspapers to misrepresent who you are. There's only one other person this has happened to, and that's Donald John Trump. I am so honored to be in that company. And they're doing this to destroy Trump and to destroy the free press and to demonize the new burgeoning media. That's why they're misrepresenting what I said about 9/11. I've got the clips where they said that I said the firefighters blew it up because I said government was involved. No, firefighters are the ones that told us about the countdown. Deep state working with the Islamicists, just like they've done on the Arab Spring and the invasion of Europe with the UN. It's all public now. When I say inside job, I mean our government working with Islamicists. And now you see the FBI and CIA saying it's like Islamicists are above us. They know everything we're doing before we do it. Chinese patriots have been killed by the hundreds because the CIA gave China via moles who they are and where they are. And they say, your CIA is communist. That was in even the Washington Post last week. We're totally penetrated, ladies and gentlemen, like with this winner lady, reality winner, you know, that wanted to join the Taliban and said all whites should be exterminated, and she was white. She had a top secret clearance. They are hiring total whack jobs. And they're all in the media, they're everywhere, and they're just lying about what I say, lying about what I do. I point out our government criminally worked with Saudi Arabia. I say the firefighters blew up the towers. No, I didn't. I say, yes, my audience doesn't believe Newtown happened the way they said. It has a lot of earmarks of a PR stunt, but I tended to think people probably did get killed there. Then they make me the father of hurting children, and then I'm hurting the families and I'm hurting children, and I'm this big monster like Charlie Manson. I've got the clips coming up. But doesn't work to call you a racist, doesn't work to call you a Russian agent. Now they're saying it's okay for her to air this interview. Why, we interviewed Charlie Manson, we interviewed child molesters, this is word for word coming up. And a lot of people are going to see this and say, man, I feel sorry for you. I asked for this. I am honored, and I'm so blessed of my friends and my family and this crew that is my family, who knows the truth and who sees the news and who sees the real clips and who knows what I really said, for standing with me because they're standing by their own First Amendment and their own country. And I want to thank you for standing with us as well. We're making history. History's happening right now. And whether they're successful in destroying me or not, they're going to fall in the end. And what you're seeing is total desperation. Now, Dr. Corsi is going to pop in a moment, and we are going to play some of these clips. And he's going to be in studio with us in the next hour. But since I mentioned it, here's the babies in the incubator story. A fake report of children being murdered. Hundreds of children having their brains stomped out. Didn't happen. I'm not attacking any children Saddam ever killed. He was a bad guy. The point is, this was fake. And the Gulf of Tonkin was fake in 1964 to get us into Nam. And all the rest of it that then killed millions of people. So it's normal to question known liars. And what I did was question like everybody else. And I'm proud of the fact I questioned. I'm not running away from that, like Joey Behard said on The View this morning. I'm proud of it, that I told the truth. Just because you misrepresent what I actually said is a straw man. It's not Alex Jones. And you're going to fail. People are going to find the real Alex Jones. The danger here is I've analyzed this attack profile. I'm going to skip this break.
I volunteered at the Al-Adan Hospital with 12 other women who wanted to help as well. I was the youngest volunteer. The other women were from 20 to 30 years old. While I was there, I saw the Iraqi soldiers come into the hospital with guns. They took the babies out of the incubators, took the incubators, and left the children to die on the cold floor. It was horrifying. I could not help but think of my nephew. who, if born premature, might have died that day as well.
There's hours of it. It was admitted to have been fake a month later. Totally fake, never been to Kuwait. No babies were killed. No babies were thrown out of incubators. Now, if they'll stage that, they'll stage anything. Then they personalize it. Then they go show families and say, Jones says this, or Jones says that. Or it's in the Podesta emails, all this clear pedophile stuff. We break that Weiner is sexting young girls, trying to recruit them. That all came out later. They changed the subject to a D.C. pizza place and say that I say Hillary's murdering children in a basement there. Never said it. Then when they come and attack me and say I'm saying it, I say, we never said that. We reported on some of the news, reporting on the pizza place. I think it's a diversion. And they go, he admits he lied when he said Hillary killed kids in a basement. No, I said Hillary funded the Arab Spring that killed hundreds of thousands of people, tens of thousands of them children sold into sex slavery, and then I hold up mainstream news articles admitting it. See, they don't like me because I'm discrediting them, because I'm exposing them, because I have a memory, and I go and show you what they've done in the past, and then you remember what you saw, and you learn faster than I do in most cases. But make no mistake, this attack on me is an attack on you. And if they can get away with this long term, they're going to start doing this to many other people. This is a jihad, just like they're hyping all over the news. And the Huffington Post is saying, you know, too bad that this wasn't more coordinated. You know, we need a mass violent attack, one of their writers is saying. We don't need just a few congressmen shot or cops shot. And Black Lives Matter and George Soros, they're the monsters. They're the people that want civil war. They're the ones that say ISIS on CNBC, please come blow up Trump's tower. They're the ones trying to organize insurrection and then using weaponized media viciously. And then I knew it was coming. This is when I said on Monday, then we're going to Dr. Corsi briefly. Well, I appreciate coming in the studio to tell us what's coming up in the next hour. He's going to be joining us. I knew. It all clicked on Monday, and people said it's on Father's Day. That's when they now announced they're going to air it because they weren't clear before. And I went, oh, my gosh. He kept asking me, how do you feel for the fathers of the Newtown children? You're a father. And it all clicked. Guaranteed they're going to have promos that start up this weekend where on Father's Day, he says it never happened. And then sure enough, they ran a promo Monday. And in the promo, they edited it where I say Newtown never happened. When I said what you just heard me say 5 minutes ago, very clear, but also nuanced historically, that if they'll stage stuff in Iraq and kill 500,000 Iraqis and send our troops in to die, don't blame the troops, they got lied to like we did, then they'll do anything. So it's okay to question. Boom! She cuts that and goes, sounds like a cop-out. What's Iraq got to do with it? See, so none of it makes sense. This is the psyop. This is the fake news. But here's the deal. I've analyzed it. We're going to beat them. They have no credibility. They have a 6% trust rate, AP reports. And I tend to agree with that number. The problem is that the attack profile shows they may be getting ready to kill me. And Corsi talked about this. They're clearly promoting Trump's death everywhere and members of Congress. And we are seen as the American resistance. I mean, you're looking at it. I don't want to be Sam Adams part 2, but I've pretty much analyzed, if you compared what I do to 1776, I mean, I'm like Sam Adams. It's true. And I don't say that as a power trip. He was living in his time. He spent his money in the media to expose the globalists of the time, the British Empire. And, you know, Dr. Corsi's kind of like a Benjamin Franklin type. And Donald Trump's towards Washington, ladies and gentlemen. And here's the deal. We're not saying that in a power trip. We're saying that because we're under full globalist attack. Every channel, every day, lies, lies, lies. And if you look at the attack profile, it only makes sense if they're planning to kill us. And that means the president too. And that's what Corsi talked about on Monday as well. So I'm going to get a brief analysis of him of where this is going, and then I want to go through all these clips. But ladies and gentlemen, they are now saying that I am in the company of child molesters and that I am in the company of Charles Manson and Saddam Hussein. Ladies and gentlemen, to have the scum of the MSM that launched all these evil wars, that opened our borders, that has sided with radical Islam, that has looted our pension funds, that has deindustrialized our nation, I am honored. I am serious. I am honored. Everybody knows I asked for this. And God just keeps giving me whatever I ask for. But it's not a careful what you ask for. I am so honored that I can now begin to measure up to my ancestors that were extremely illustrious in the founding of Texas and this great nation. And I can now start to measure up to some of those people. I'll never even say who my ancestors are because, you know, it sounds like I'm bragging. I'll just leave it at that. And I am now beginning, again, genetically and spiritually to begin to measure up, and I'm going to go in, through, and beyond. It doesn't mean I won't stumble. Doesn't mean I won't fall. Doesn't mean I won't physically probably fail. But spiritually, we're going to win. But this is a historic, epic battle. And now more than ever, pray for America, pray for the world, pray for President Trump, pray for me, pray for my family. I've seen God working, and I've seen how every time the enemy hits us harder, we just get stronger. And it makes me sick to see our country fallen this far, to be in the hands of these wicked globalists, how they're attacking our families, how they're promoting sexualization of young children. I mean, you see them on the news. You see them on Nickelodeon. You see MTV. You see MTV promoting murdering innocent white people and all this race baiting. I mean, these are horrible. The Muslims celebrated the tower burning up, even though a bunch of Muslims died, saying, oh, good, I hope the West all burns down yesterday in England. I mean, it's just a bunch of existential envy losers who hate the West and who hate honor and who hate strength. And Trump has done nothing but deliver. The guy has such courage. He's so amazing, going to the hospital last night with the congressman fighting for his life still. And they're all over the news just celebrating this and saying, we need more, kill more. And nothing's being done because the government is still hijacked. And Trump has this precarious beachhead. But again, look how far we've come. This is the fight. We're going to win, people. Trump may fall. I may fall like the Alamo. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We're going to live forever because the Republic's going to live on and humanity's going to move on and have greater destiny because we're being men in our age. So I want to thank you all who've supported us over the years and who've prayed for us because we are now under the full globalist assault. And again, the remorseless left, it's all over the news, is celebrating. They're saying more death. They are drunk on the blood of all the aborted children. They are just absolute demons. Dr. Corsi, thanks for coming in to pop in and tell us what's coming up at the bottom of the next hour when you join us with some of the other guests while you're down here in studio with us, our Washington Bureau Chief. You've heard me break this down. You have said that the next civil war is starting. They're initiating it, and that this indicates from your psychological warfare training at the State Department and other areas that they are preparing to commence basically paramilitary operations against the Republic. And you said that on Monday, and now we're seeing it.
Well, and Donald Trump is in the fight of his life. This is about impeachment. If the left, the far left, the hard left, the Bill Ayers left, violent, cannot impeach Trump, they will assassinate him. And what we're going to do is we're going to start the deconstructing of the deep state so people understand exactly how it works and how Donald Trump needs in this hour to understand what JFK did not understand, and that this is a serious threat, and the hard, vicious, violent left intends to win. I'm confident Donald Trump's going to win with the help of God and all those out there who are going to stand behind Donald Trump and defend the United States of America and the Constitution, because this is our freedom at stake. If we lose this battle, we lose the Republic. And Donald Trump, we got to be blessed to have him there, because Donald Trump, when he catches on to this and fully understands it, will fight back and will win. I'm confident of that. We need to deconstruct the deep state in order to help him.
Well, Dr. Corsi, again, you're in the studio, but I'm looking at you on a camera here. I don't think I've ever seen you get tears in your eyes on air. Do you have tears in your eyes right now?
This is a very emotional subject for me because as a kid, I was around Jack Kennedy a lot. I was around a lot of the people that tried to warn Jack Kennedy he was going to be killed. And he just, quite frankly, never really took it all that deeply. I mean, he understood it. Jack Kennedy had Addison's disease. He had a congenital spine ailment. He had to take massive shots of amphetamines every day in order to be able to walk. He did not want to end his life in a wheelchair. He had a very different perspective than Donald Trump, who just celebrated a birthday, happy birthday, and we hope he's going to have many more. And I think Donald Trump is in this battle to win, where John Kennedy, unfortunately, realized he'd already lost.
That's right, and let's be clear. We cannot stress to you the peril the country is in. As I told Stone that night when Trump won, I said, the real war just started, brother. I knew it intellectually. I could feel it in my gut. and I could feel what was coming down. And I told my wife 2 weeks ago, I said, baby, stuff's going to get about 50 times worse. She said, I'm standing by you. I understand that. And I told her, I said, down the road, I haven't got around telling my kids this yet, but, you know, I'm not feeling sorry for myself. I'm very honored, but they want to destroy us in front of everybody to try to scare people. And I'm not scared. I just want the listeners to stay strong and stay focused. We can't turn our kids over to all these pedophiles and devil worshipers and communists and Muslims. And that's what they are. They just are a bunch of scum, and they hate us because we're good. And they know we love God. And so we need to pray to Christ for discernment and for strength, and that his will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So I think I'm going to come back with the Lord's Prayer after this break. But we're here. We're in the fulcrum, and this is it. All right, Dr. Corsi, we'll see you in the middle of the next hour. Thanks for visiting us here in Austin.
Great pleasure and honor to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely, folks. This is the fight. This is it. I feel so good right now. I feel really close to God. Never felt this close to God, because the enemy is preparing horrible things against us all. Prepare for the main attack, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go to Debit in Florida. Debit in Florida, you're on the air.
Great. Hey, thank you so much. Listen, I have bought your product, and I gotta say they're amazing. Anyone who's on the fence, buy it, because I've got Caveman, Superman Vitality, Secret 12, Vitamin Mineral Fusion. I've got the body armor.
Wow, thank you.
Wow.
You're the type of listener that makes it all possible. Which nutraceutical does you like best?
I really like the Vitamin Mineral Fusion, to be honest. That's
amazing.
Really incredible. I drank it in the morning, and I swear to you, I felt incredible. Like I haven't felt weak. My morning was fantastic, and I love you guys. I love the InfoWars crew, and I just want to, I want to take this opportunity to tell anybody out there who's on the fence, just buy it. You will love it. I'm telling you, I've never bought a bad product.
What you find in our news is the same thing you find in our products at InfoWarsLife.com. It's a win-win, InfoWarsLife.com.